Hello everyone. Hello MMA world. UFC 296 went down this past Saturday. It was a spectacular event. There are so many great fights. I can't even talk about all of them, but we just gonna uh, pick a couple of things to talk about. So first, let's look at Leon Edwards defending his belt, soundly beating Colby Covington a lot easier than most people thought. Basically outstriking him, out wrestling him. So listen, guys. Leon Edwards has alluded to his wrestling abilities, and I guess we may need to start taking that seriously, guys. Because he took Kamaru Usman down. He defended a lot of takedowns from Kamaru Usman. He just out wrestled Colby Covington this past Saturday. So that's impressive because considering that both Kamaru Usman and Colby Covington are considered to be among the best wrestlers at the welterweight division. Well, actually, in the UFC in general, some of the best wrestlers. So I think that's great, and I think that was flawless to me performance by Leon Edwards, especially considering all the pressure he was under because of all the stuff that Colby Covington said about his dead father. So that's a statement to his ability to perform and flourish under pressure. So well done, Leon Edwards. And now talking about Colby Covington, talking about his dead father. So what do you think? Colby Covington, I guess, is always going to be Colby Covington. We cannot, he's always going to say what he wants to say. And now, to me, it was very distasteful at the very least. I think I have alluded to that in the previous video. Some trash talking is fun, is good for building up a fight. But talking about somebody's dead family members, I think is disgusting. But again, I cannot put things in Colby Covington's mouth. The problem is, during the post-fight press conference, he was given an opportunity to distance himself from that, to back out of it. Instead, he doubled down. And his reasoning was, he said, well, the father was some sort of gang member, and I'm paraphrasing here, who was in human trafficking, and I believe he mentioned about killing other people, that he left a trail of victims, and he said why should he have sympathy for a scumbag? I'm using his word, a scumbag like that. Now, the thing is, he wasn't fighting Leon Edwards' father. And we were asking him to have sympathy for him. And nobody's asking him for sympathy. Asking for decency. And he was fighting Leon Edwards, not his father, who is dead when he was only 14, 15 years old. Now, and even if, based on what Colby Covington said, because I didn't research it, I don't think it was necessary, to be honest with you. But even if everything he said about his father was correct, that still wouldn't give you permission. That it still doesn't make it right, because this is his father, and who know? I don't know how old he was when he died, but everybody make mistakes. A lot of people made terrible mistakes, and sometimes they change their life around completely. So I think that was that doesn't make sense to me, this argument, and also that doesn't mean because your father was that kind of person, you should not love them, because even if we look at it in a biblical point of view, it says honor your parents. It didn't say honor them if they're good parents or if they make good judgment or good decisions. It say honor them. So I think no matter how Colby Covington tried to explain it, it will never make sense to me, and I don't think it will ever make sense to. Let me say it a different way. It will not make sense to most people, and both in the MMA community or anybody else. I think it's distasteful, and so I'm just gonna leave this at that. And now Colby, so who is next for the title? So that's the other thing I want to cover. So somebody asked Dana White a question about who is next for the title. They didn't ask him directly about about Bilal Muhammad. But what I'm trying to say is that Dana White didn't commit that Bilal Muhammad would be next for the title. And if I were Bilal Muhammad, if I'm not next for the title, I would be pissed. I think he has done the work. I really think that he is the number one contender. He has history with Leon Edwards. I think he's the next guy up in line. I mean, really, I don't see who else. As a matter of fact, he made the argument that he should have been the one fighting for the belt because Colby Covington already fought for the belt twice, lost both times to Kamaru Usman, and he's a guy who has been sitting around just waiting for a title shot. I totally agree with him while everybody else has been fighting. But that is over, that is done. But now I think he should be next for the fight. Obviously, Shavkat Rakhmonov had a stellar performance by submitting Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, being the first guy to actually submit Wonderboy. So I think that was a great performance, but I still don't think he is deserving of the next title shot. I think it should be Bilal next, and Shavkat should fight somebody else next in the meantime, and then he would be next for the belt. And Colby Covington, hate him, like him, hate him. I think he did a good job usually in terms of promoting his fights and everything. And I think he did just that when during the post-fight press conference when he called out Wonderboy. I think that's a great call out. They both lost this past Saturday, and that's a good guy, I think, for Colby Covington to test his skills against, to see where he is at, whether he needs to retire or whether he still has it, whether he can make another run at the title again. So I think that was a great call out from Colby Covington. And what about Bryce Mitchell performance? Not Bryce Mitchell, I'm sorry, guys. Josh Emmett's performance, guys. That was super impressive. I mean, he knocked out Bryce Mitchell so badly that he was convulsing after the knock. I've never seen anything like that before, never. That was ridiculous. And then it took him a while to come to, and even after that, he couldn't stand up. People have to hold him. So I was happy to see Bryce Mitchell came out in a video and saying that he was okay. He was transported to the hospital, all tests ran, and he is fine. So I'm happy for him, and he seems to be in a good spirits after the loss. So that is great. And performance of the night was Cara Rosa versus Irene Aldana, and well deserved. I'm sure everybody saw that coming. So those ladies, man, I mean, they put on a fight. That was one of those fights I think that should probably make it into the Hall of Famers for great fights. I think that was an impressive fight. If you consider Irene Aldana receiving all those leg kicks and to come back and win this fight. So that was impressive. And then MVP, Michael Venom Page has been announced joining the UFC. First fight against Kevin Holland. I can't wait for this fight. I think it's going to be great. Those guys sort of have similar style, antics. Oh, I think it's going to be a great fight. And whenever, I mostly watch the UFC, but every once in a while I watch Bellator. And MVP was one of those guys that I love watching him fight because of the way he fights. He reminds me of people like Anderson Silva. Those few handful rare breed of guys when they fight. It's almost like they're not in a fight. They make it look so easy. They're so creative in the way they do things and stuff. So yeah, I'm glad for MVP to join the UFC, and I can't wait to see him fighting. I think it's gonna be an incredible fight between him and Kevin Holland. I love both of those guys. Won't even know how to pick among them. And Ian Gary's next fight is announced. I think it's a great fight. This is his fight, the same fight with Geoff Neal. That's what we booked. And also, guys, hey, I'm happy to see that Ian Gary has had a break lately from the UFC community. Apparently, he's sick with pneumonia, so people has some sympathy, I guess. People are not talking that much about him. But to be honest with you guys, I never think it's a good thing anyways to be talking about people's family, their wives, and all that. Obviously, Ian Gary, I think, has done stuff that that's people have talked about it, but I'm not gonna say anything right now. I think maybe in another video, now Ian Gary is recovering from pneumonia, I think we should let him do just that. But I think that's a great fight for him, and all those fights I think all are coming at one of those events. That's one of those UFC pay-per-view coming up. I think it's probably UFC 299 if I'm not mistaken, but it's the UFC card that's coming in Miami, so I think that's gonna be great. It seems like this card is becoming a great fight card. Just as usual, let me see if there is anything else that I wanted to cover, I wanted to talk about. Yeah, well, it's sort of like I mostly talk about all the stuff that I wanted to talk about for UFC 296. Hey guys, it's always a pleasure talking to you guys. I would appreciate it if you would subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. And also, I always love to read your comments. Please go to the comment sections, share your comments with me. Tell me what you think about UFC 296, anything you want to talk about, any situation about Colby Covington's antics, anything, I would welcome it. But until I talk to you again, guys, peace out.